If we're looking at a bar of college, today having a 4.0 GPA and, playing a sport and maybe, volunteering and maybe playing an instrument, that's not enough. You've got to be the head of the team, and you've got to be playing a professional level instrument, and you've got to change one slice of the world with your volunteer projects. How is that attainable?
Well, I think that's part of the misperception of what success is. And I think as adults, we need to have the conversation, start redefining success. What our kids see and what we've perpetuated, unintentionally, is that success is getting into that great college, right? That selective college, that Ivy League university. Meanwhile, we know that there are ththousands of colleges out there that could be a better fit. Again, there's another white paper that just came out yesterday from an organization called Challenge Success, and they said that the rankings don't matter. It's really about how engaged the student is in their college experience in terms of whether they're going to benefit from college. Now, easier said than done.
Exactly,
we live in a culture, and especially being in Silicon Valley, where there's a lot of talk about your pedigree. Where did you go to school?
I mean, there was a time, I think it's changed now, where Google did not look at anybody that didn't come from a Stanford, Berkeley, or one or two other engineering colleges. So those are such mixed messages.
Right, exactly. But if you talk to the most CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and a lot of people in upper management, they are saying that we're getting these Ivy educated kids coming into the corporate world, and they don't know what to do next. They're so programmed to do school. They know how to do school. They know how to be successful. They know how to master school because it's so traditional, and it's how you and I were educated. It hasn't changed in 150 years.
No, that's true.
And now you put them in a work environment where they have to be collaborative, they have to be creative, they have to think critically. They don't have those skills. And so I think for parents, we really need to think about what is success? What defines success for us and our family?
Even I will sit here and I'll say, I want my kids to be well adjusted, and I want them to be happy, and I want them to follow their passions. But as I told my son just yesterday, I'm like, you can do whatever you want after you get a master's degree. I didn't go as far as to specify the school.
Right.
But that comes from a place of fear, which is I don't want you to suffer. Yes, you may be a fantastic banjo player, but are you really going to be happy living with 5 roommates in a loft in Chicago when you're 45? Right? You have to be able to provide for yourself. But there is. Obviously, that's a gigantic spectrum.
You mentioned a key word. You said fear. It's every parent wants what's best for the kid.
Of course.
That's the one thing that we all have in common.
Yeah, it's true.
How we go about that and what that looks like can vary from family to family. And I do think in a culture like Silicon Valley, there is a lot of looking at what your neighbors are doing and your friend circle is doing, and questioning yourself. Am I doing the right thing for my kid, or should I be doing more? So it's really hard to have that real firm understanding of what your values are and sticking to those values
and
when the people around you might be doing something very counter to what you value in your
I remember
family.
having a conversation with somebody when my son was going into 2nd grade about getting him a tutor. And I was like, for what reason exactly? But had I gone down that path, I would have found out that at least half the class had tutors. And we keep trying to move this bar higher and higher and further and further away. We're never going to achieve it.
And our kids become victim of this, right?
Clearly, that's what we're talking
about. I always use the analogy they're on a hamster wheel, right? They are just caught in this hamster wheel system right now. And they're running and spinning because they're trying to do all the right things. They know how important this idea of a good college education is. They see the success of their parents and the people, their friends and neighbors around them, and they're caught in the system. So, one of my passions as an educator and as a leader is really, how do we change the system for the sake of all kids?
How much of this is parental narcissism? Sort of, this is, a chip off my block, and I'm gonna, my success my children's success is reflective of me. How much is that?
I think that's a big piece of it, and I think that gets perpetuated in the cocktail party conversations we have, and the things that unintentionally adults do to kind of keep this
keeping up with the Joneses
parenting report card. Being able to put the sticker on the back of your car, putting your Facebook post up to the school that they're now going to, and as soon as those college admissions start to come out in April, the cocktail party conversation changes.
So let me ask you this. Let's say you're a parent and you do put the well-being of your child first, right? You decide, all right, you are going to get to be that banjo player and I'm going to support you 100%. How do you overcome your own grieving process of distancing yourself from your child and being like, you know what, it's okay. He's not going to be a Wall Street banker, or she's not going to go run for president of the United States. She's just going to be a hippie banjo player out in Santa Cruz, but she's going to be fucking happy.
Right.
How do you console yourself?
Yeah, I think
actually what I really mean is, how do you get over yourself?
How do you get over yourself? Right. Because your daughter to be a doctor, or a veterinarian, or a lawyer. I think it's really just tapping into that self-acceptance, knowing that accepting your child for who they are as a person, and reimagining what it means to be successful, and redefining that.